Good morning. It is rather early in the morning. It's 2:45. But I have been troubled by this question for quite a long time now, and so I just want to have a chat to you about it. It's called What is True Love? Now, this is the question that I've struggled with quite a lot over the last few months, and personally, I've come to the conclusion that I don't think it actually exists. We all seek it, but what I observe in this country of mine does not seem to be the love I was taught by my parents should exist in society. And what has happened to this country of mine? It seems that sexual gratification is viewed as love. This is an illusion, and although it seems to beckon like a bright bubble, like the bubble, it'll burst. I cannot believe that young people, especially girls, would give themselves to someone they do not know after a drunken one-night stand, or face the indignity of walking the walk of shame the next morning. At least prostitutes make men pay for their sexual favours. Don't the young realise that sex is not love? What has happened to the phrase, coffee is coffee and nothing else? Or just the little word no? What has happened to courtship, engagement, and life commitment, or even marriage? Marriage seems to be a dirty word these days. A young professional woman I know was having coffee with a girlfriend after a shopping trip. Now, these attractive young women were approached by two young men who proceeded to chat them up in the most vulgar fashion. In the end, one of the young women, in sheer frustration, leaned over and kissed her friend full on the lips and said, "Go away, we're lesbians. Leave us in peace." The young men recoiled in horror. "What a waste!" one young man was heard to remark. One of the girl's boyfriends, when he heard the story, told her she was outrageous. Was she? I think not. Why young men should have the audacity to push into a private conversation between two young ladies and make themselves obnoxious, I know not. Why should young girls have to think up tart statements like, "Why, is it magic? Has your appendage been blessed with fairy dust?" Then there is the problem of not being able to go out to a nightclub and enjoy a good dance, a drink or two, without getting your drink spiked, your purse stolen, your clothes ripped, and end up in a strange bed. That happened to another young woman I know. I fell into conversation with a man the other day, and he started talking about how girls ask to be sexually assaulted by the way they dress. They're asking for it, the way they dress, just cries out for it, his very words. Sorry, are my ears deceiving me? The way girls dress gives boys license to rip their clothes, grab their genitals, slap their buttocks. No, I think not. No wonder Muslim girls cover themselves up. I do not blame them. My point is, no matter what a woman is wearing, she should not be subjected to sexual harassment, such as the mild incidents I have quoted, which is just a tip of the iceberg. Another question I ask myself is this: are these young people not afraid of sexually transmitted disease? Here in the UK, the National Health runs special clinics for sexually transmitted diseases. But what about other parts of the world where there is no national health? You girls, did you know that one of the causes of cervical cancer is having sex with a lot of men? Now, I see young mums burdened with young children, and the man who implanted those babies in her womb is nowhere to be found. The girl is left to bring up the kids on her own, whilst the guy just adds her as another notch to his bedpost. It makes me sad when young girls of 14, 15 and even 18 become pregnant and are left to cope on their own. Or good old mum and dad, when they should be enjoying a life of their own, the children having or about to fly the nest, either support and help to bring up the child or say, "Sorry, darling, it's not our problem. You were stupid enough to get yourself pregnant, so live with it." Teenagers should be enjoying their life, not burdened down with children at such a tender age. They should feel protected by their fathers. Girls should be the apple of their father's eye and treated as his princess. How her father treats her is how a girl views future men who come into her life. From the father, the boy should learn how to be a man, how to protect, how to respect women. He needs to be taught not to give in to lust. I'm also shocked by the lack of morality amongst very young children. It would seem that children as young as 9 are photographing themselves naked and intimately on iPhones and sending those photographs to supposed boyfriends or girlfriends. My informant told me that everyone was doing it, and if you didn't send explicit photos of yourself, then you were ostracized from the group or groups. I heard of a case recently where a young girl under 9 was raped repeatedly on a school playground by boys who are well under the age of consent. I have to ask myself, are we in the West being far too explicit in our sexual education in schools at a very young age? What has happened to innocence? What has happened to the close extended family unit? There was a saying that it takes at least 5 people to bring up a child. In this country, the family unit seems to form, break, recreate with a new father or mother. He or she cheated on me is a phrase I've heard so often lately. Let me spell it out. If you commit to a person, you should not cheat. Just what is this phenomena doing to the children of these so-called families? Poor kids, they don't have any stability. It affects them mentally. Often they take the blame upon themselves for splits in relationships. Many children today are lacking in self-worth, in spite of the schools trying to instill it into them and counselling them by educational psychologists. What is the answer? Well, do you know what? I don't really know, but perhaps it is a return to the good old moral values of the past. No sex before marriage, treat women with respect, bring up children in a loving home environment where dad is king and mum is queen. But I fear we've let the genie out of the bottle, and it'll be a really hard job to get him back in and put the stopper firmly back in place. Well, these are a few of my thoughts on this subject that has been troubling me for quite a long time, and I don't like what I see around me. But what can we do to make a difference? I hope that I wouldn't say enjoyed that, but I hope that it's made you think. And I hope in whatever country you're listening in, I hope that doesn't happen in your country the way it's happened in mine. So guard your kids. Parents, guard your kids. Bring your kids up in the right way. Know what they're doing at all times. Good night.